a couple of different authors in. Oh, hello, everybody. I thought we were live and I was talking, apparently, to myself. Hi, I'm Trish Heinrich. I am an author with Remy Flag and I. We kind of, I wouldn't say run superherofiction.com, but we're kind of in charge of the website. Remy does the vast majority of the work on there. So if you love it, drop him a thank you note. Remy is in a meeting, and he will be joining us as soon as possible. And I think we're going to have a couple of other authors in today, which would be good. I forgot to set an alarm, and so I haven't been up that long. Where I'm at, it's morning time. It's 9:30 a.m. And I am having my coffee. I thought I would show off my fabulous geek mug. Wonder Woman! Because I need some Amazon princess power today. I do. Alrighty. So I just thought I will talk about what I'm working on. I'm working on the second book in my Heroes of High Tide series. And it's going pretty good. I'm almost to the midpoint on draft 2, thank God. If you've tuned in a lot, you've probably heard me talk about swine flu. I had swine flu for like almost a month, and that really set my productivity back. I'm actually supposed to be working on the third draft right now, which is the draft where I incorporate the notes from my developmental editor. And so I haven't even gotten it to him yet. I had to push that back a month. The book is on pre-order, so I'm really working on like meeting that pre-order deadline. I always give myself a month cushion. And I was really hoping I could release it on the date that I wanted to, which would be July 15th, but I think it is going to have to be August. But hey, it'll be out by the end of summer. So that's going to be awesome. So Jeremy says he's going to be on soon. Miss you, man. I'm just sitting here talking to myself, which I call another morning, basically. It's just another morning, me and my coffee pot. I did a little writing earlier, and I got about 400 words in, which I'm pretty happy with. And I just flipped my screen. If you are watching, let me know if you have any questions, anything you want me to talk about. Jeremy says he's going to be hopping on in a few minutes. But you know what I am going to do? Let's see, what can I do? It would be super entertaining for you guys. I don't know. Because usually I have somebody to work with. Actually, you know what? Remy and I didn't do our podcast, our regular podcast today. This week, we did the audio from the CornCon panel that he and I and some other really fabulous superhero authors, Michael Bailey, Taylor Elwood, Matt King, and Karen Diem, we were all on a virtual panel, which I kind of feel like conventions are probably going to be virtual for a good 6-7 months, which somewhat breaks my heart because I love the camaraderie of walking into a convention and like you're with your people. And I especially feel that way about Geek Girl Con, but I am preparing myself and my girls for not being able to physically go this year, which is, I feel is like really heartbreaking. But also it's safe. So anyway, we did a panel for CornCon, which is wonderful. And we had so much fun. And so that is up actually today. Go to the podcatcher that you love, or you can go to superherofiction.com, click the podcast tab, and you'll see our latest episode where it's the audio of our panel, which is great. But the reason I bring that up is I didn't get a chance to talk about like what I'm geeking out about. So maybe I'll just talk a little bit about what we're geeking out about this week. I'm reading this fabulous book about the woman, Millicent Patrick, who created the Creature from the Black Lagoon. And she created the monster. Like, she is full on responsible for designing that thing. There's pictures of her on set painting it. I guess when the paint would kind of come off during filming, she'd be on set to touch it up and all that kind of stuff. And she did a whole press tour about the monster. Hey, Krista.
Hi.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Good.
Remy is stuck in a meeting, so he's going to be here as soon as humanly possible.
Okay, no problem.
So, what are you working on right now?
I am finishing up the second book in my Heartthrob Heroes series, which is taking me a lot longer than I expected because I keep changing what I want to do with it.
Oh, I had a nickel for every time I did that. Seriously.
I know.
Heartthrob. It's a series called Heartthrob Heroes. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
That's a great title. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I was looking for a series title and I couldn't come up with anything, and so then I kind of I googled romance comics, and DC back in the whoever knows how many years ago had those comics and those romance comics, and that's where I got the name from.
That is fabulous. I never would have even thought to do research with the comics, like in terms of like what did they. That's so brilliant. And have you ever looked at those romance comics? They are so cheesy and fabulous.
Oh my goodness. I've read a few of them and I'm like, what is happening? Like, who's this dramatic in real life?
I know, exactly. Who cries this much?
Yeah, exactly.
So when did your first one in the series come out, or has it come out yet?
Yeah, the first one came out last year in October. And that one was Blaze. So that one was like kind of a the heroes kind of a play on Batman because that's my favorite character. so it was Batman, and just like the character that he falls for is like this little comic graphic artist who like is just constantly in need of rescue, which I just thought was hilarious to write.
I love it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I've kind of, romance isn't usually my genre that I read in, but man, here lately I'm like, I just want a really good, like, I want some good rom-com books to binge.
Yeah. I think we're also stressed. We just want something like feel good and kind of relaxing, and you know it's going to be a happy end, even if it's stressful in the story, just so we can kind of chill for a minute.
Exactly. That is exactly how I am feeling. Yeah. I will have to check out your books then.
Thank you.
It sounds exactly like what I'm wanting. And I usually don't read romance unless it's recommended to me because I have been burned.
Yeah. It's always hard going. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask if you've ever done one of these live sprints with us before.
I have not. I tried to do it a couple times this week, but the first time I tried to do it, my apartment complex, they had our electricity off so they could do some rewiring or something. And so then yesterday I was going to join, but then we had a big storm the night before and knocked out our power again. So I'm just like, oh my God. So I hadn't been able to join. So this is my first time.
Oh my gosh. Third time is the charm. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we usually chit chat for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll do a 20-minute sprint.
Okay.
And Remy and I both mute our mics because we like to write to music. So if you want to do that, that's totally fine.
Awesome.
And Remy should be here before we start the sprint, but if he's not, I'll just start it.
Okay.
And Franklin usually joins us, but I don't know if he is today or not. We were also, I think Remy and Franklin were talking about doing a like an afternoon or evening one of these so that people could drink and make it a drink thing. He's like, every time you delete something, you have to drink. And I was like, dude.
That would be bad.
Yeah, I would get like 10 words in and be like, bastard.
Yeah. I do try not to delete when I'm typing, but like that, I have never been able to master that. I always wind up doing it.
Yeah, I do too. Even I'm most productive with word sprints, and the common recommendation is don't delete, just go through it. But typos bug me. I'm like, I want to like correct it, or I hate this sentence and I really hate it, so I'm just going to delete it, you know. And
it is such an automatic thing. Like as soon as you see it and you don't like it, you immediately want to do it. And it's like, you know, you try not to, but it's the only way that I can get around that is I tend to just kind of type up a real quick vomit draft and then print that out and then do the rest by hand until I'm ready to go back and polish it after I, you know, fill everything in on the typewriter and then start polishing it. That's the only way I can get around the not stopping and going back and forth is if I'm doing it by hand, because obviously, you know, you're writing, so
yeah. That's interesting. Why don't you so I'm always curious about other authors' processes. I always end up learning something because I know each of us have our own process. It's very personal. I don't know about you, but I constantly pull from other authors' stuff. I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. And so I'm still building my process. But what is yours like? Do you outline? Do you pants? Do you do a little bit of both? Like, how do you create?
I definitely outline just because it's hard for me to. It's hard if I'm writing the first, you know, 3 chapters or whatever. It's hard for me to kind of just keep going if I don't know where I'm going. So I tend to do like a really basic outline first, and then maybe like a 20,000 word. I guess you could almost still call it an outline. Just kind of 20,000 words, roughly, where I just kind of really get down all those ideas for just like some, you know, basic chapters and kind of really figure out, you know, just to get all that out. And then from there, I'll go and I'll do a more specific outline because I kind of know exactly what the story is by that point. So I'll do a specific outline, you know, step to step for chapters and scene descriptions. And then once I have that down, then I can really start writing by chapter. So I'll do first chapter and then just kind of stop and go through and make sure it's filled in as possible. I call that fleshing it out, putting some meat on the bone, you know. And so I'll go through and I'll do that, and then I'll move on to the next chapter and just kind of go through all the way. And then once I finish that, that's when I'm almost finished with my word count for the story. Then from there, I'll do what I call, I have 2 names for it. It's either I'll go with polishing it, where I just kind of go through and really, you know, get everything as nice as possible, or or I call it the Hans Zimmering, because like his music always adds to the superhero stories and really builds the scenes. And so I feel like that's what I'm doing at that last stage where I'm really building the scene. I'm adding the Zimmer music to it, you know. So I do write in stages just because I can't pants. I have to have something to keep me going what I'm aiming for. So yeah, several layers.
I love that. And I discovering I'm very similar. Like I'll do a draft that's basically it's discovery. So I'll have a beginning and middle and end in mind. And then I draft a discovery draft where I'm like figuring out exactly how I want the story to go. And kind of like, I see it kind of like the old time, like the ancient sculptors where they would have a block of marble and they're just chipping away at everything until they find the sculpture inside. So that discovery draft is me chipping away at a bunch of excess stuff, you know, like writing out an idea and being like, oh no, I really don't like that one after all, you know. And then I can be like, okay, and then I can do the more detailed outline, which is scene by scene, and then finally write that out. So yeah, it fascinates me, the authors that can sit down and like do such a detailed outline right out of the gate. I'm just like, how do you do that? I can't even wrap my head around that process.
It doesn't work for me to just try and just do it all at once. And I think whenever sometimes I do try it just because I just want to get it done. I'm like, oh, I can just do this. And I don't know why I always fall for that, but I try it every time. It never works. And then whenever I get stuck in a situation, I always remember when I was writing fan fiction, I did it chapter by chapter. And so that meant I had time to stop and figure out where I wanted to go. And so I always remind myself, stop and do it like you're writing fan fiction, like, because you post, you know, once a week or whatever, you know, when you're updating for everyone to read. So it's like, don't try and do stuff later in the story that you wouldn't have already, you know, if you haven't already written stuff that would be posted right now. So I try to remind myself of that. And then once I do that, then I just kind of start settling down and really kind of digging into the story chapter by chapter. and I don't get lost and upset and confused.
Yeah. I love that. I didn't know you were a fanfic writer. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't written any in a while. I actually want to write some more. I want to write some, since I write superhero romance, I wanted to do some Midnighter and Apollo, and also
brilliant.
some gosh, my brain's freezing. Aqualad, since he just came out in the Young Justice cartoons. So I wanted to write 2 of those, but we'll see if I have time this year. I keep saying I'm going to, but it hasn't happened.
I loved that they made him bisexual.
Yeah,
it was bisexual, not gay, correct? Am I correct?
Right, because he had the crush on what's her name, Tila or something before. So
yeah, it was like Tila. Like whenever I hear that, I think, oh, He-Man. No, wrong Tila. Like that's not but I loved that. And I really loved their relationship. They weren't in a whole lot of this latest season of Young Justice, but when they were there, it was just a wonderful, like, functioning relationship, and I loved that.
Yeah, I thought they were really cute, and there's not much fanfic for them on AO3 yet. I'm assuming it's probably because since Young Justice is on the DC app, a lot of people haven't seen it, so that kind of cuts down on the people who are going to grab it and start writing for it. So I want to kind of get in and get some stories for those guys. I was just so happy to see them.
Yeah, me too. I was loving that. Oh, that is so cool. My daughter, she's 10, but what was the fanfic that she wanted to write? It was like Pokemon or something, I think. And so it was so adorable, but this was like 2 years ago. And I went ahead and I set up, excuse me, an AO3 account for her as a grown up. Like I set it up. And then she went in and she's like, I don't know if I want to do this. And I was like, oh, why not? And she's just like, I don't want people reading my stuff. And so we had to have a talk about it's okay if you don't want that, but fan fiction communities are really welcoming. And she hasn't done it since. She's doing more like actual drawing, and she's teaching herself how to draw, which is wonderful. But there is a part of me that's like, oh, I really hope you go back to it in some way. Because like she had these really adorable ideas about little Pokemon adventures. And I was like, oh,
yeah, that'd be cute. She could always, I think you can post and keep it private so she can at least get it up there just to kind of see the experience of what it feels like to post. And then she doesn't have to share it, I believe. So you might want to check and just see. But I think that there's an option for her to keep it private.
Okay, I will look into that.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's just making up like her own stuff, like whole cloth. Like she found this art app where you can like create these little anime characters. And so her friend told her about it. So she'll spend like hours on her phone with this app to create these characters with wolf tails and, lightning bolts. And then she'll be like, look, Mom, look what I did. And I'm like, this is amazing. And she's got a backstory, for all of them. And it's like,
yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah, definitely want to give her a chance to kind of really get building with that and just kind of get used to it. So that by the time she's older, she's old hat. She's ready.
I know. Yeah, exactly. I'm just impressed that all of them have these backstories. Some of them like very tragic and like involved.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that like when I was your age. Like this is
right. Yeah, I don't think I did either.
Yeah. So Remy just sent a message. He says, "Let me know if you want to do a sprint, and I can set the time. I can't hear you guys at the moment, but I can see." So he muted it for his meeting. He's in a staff meeting right now.
Oh, he's still in. Okay.
Yeah, he's a teacher. So I think it's a staff meeting for the high school, but I could be wrong. Well, we have a minute to go until sprinting. I ran out of things. I'm so tired. I forgot to set my alarm. So for me, I don't know what time zone you're in, but me, it's like almost 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just now feeling like I'm awake.
Yeah, I'm central, so I'm just an hour behind.
Okay. Yeah, I usually try to get up by 6:30, and I didn't get out of bed till 7:45 because I was like, and it was the sunlight. If it weren't for the sunshine streaming in my room, I would probably still be in bed. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah, I get up early because I have two dogs that I have to walk every morning. So I'm always an early riser. So I get up early, and then yesterday with all the storms and everything, it kept me up all night. So I was exhausted. So like by 7:30, I was like, "That's it, I'm going to bed." I couldn't stay up any longer than that.
I am such a night owl. I could be exhausted, and then like 8:30 hits, and I'm like, "Woo, I'm awake," you know. All right, so it's 20 after. Why don't we do a word sprint?
Okay.
I'm gonna let him know. Yes, please set the timer. Alrighty. And so I am gonna have my mic muted, but I'll still be able to hear you if you have a question.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, I see where to mute at. Yeah, I have big country headphones. You have to excuse.
That is okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, so he hasn't. Hold on a sec. I'm also going to set my timer just in case.
Okay.
All right, why don't we go ahead, and the time has started. That's time. Oh. Hello there, Franklin.
Hello.
Hello.
I finally was able to get away from my work phone calls and everything.
Today is the day for work phone calls, man.
My
Never talked to
30-minute
people in so long.
my 30-minute department meeting went on for an hour, and in one ear I can hear Trish talking at the very beginning, and in my other ear I have my department chair talking at me. And I was like, I can only do one. I found my multitask limit.
I'm trying to figure out where I started. I hate that.
Nice to finally see you, Krista.
Hi, I'm happy I can finally get in here.
Ooh, I did right. 81
Woohoo!
words.
81. Nice. All right. I think that cannot be right. All right. I'm going to say I started here, which I'm not sure is true, but I think it's true. No. All right. I think
Put up for a short sprint.
400. What are you going to do?
I'm going to put up for a short sprint from 120 to 130, and that way, Franklin, it'll line up with your Discord sprints.
Cool.
So we're gonna go again at 120
for a 10-minute sprint. So
Okay.
balls
So-
to the wall.
What was everybody's word count?
I got 680.
Awesome. Remy, you had 81.
81.
I feel bad saying mine. I had 1,001.
Oh my
Nice.
god.
I'm just happy that someone's finally taking Franklin down.
But the thing about these next few scenes, I have been waiting so long to write them. So they've been in my head forever. So I know exactly how I want them to go. So that does tend to help.
That makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm. It's the big midpoint fight, and I'm so excited and nervous.
I'm filling in some themes that I already have a little bit there. So I'm doing the adding a little bit to each theme that I've already started, because I couldn't think of one that I really wanted to write today that was starting from scratch.
That's awesome. I need to go check in really quick with hubby and kids, so I'll be right back.
No problem.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, back to the trio. I'm just having fun learning to play with the controls in this. Krista, so when's your next release going to be out? Or what are you shooting for?
I'm trying to decide. It's either going to be the last week of May or the first week of June. I'm probably leaning towards the first week of June, just to give myself a little more time to really get everything done that I want to get done. But yeah, so that'll be the next one. So.
Oh, I just realized I have to release on Monday. Oops.
Oh.
It's the box set, and I'm doing absolutely nothing for it.
Mm.
I have a whole bunch of newsletter swaps, but it's just there to snag page reads.
Yeah. That's.
If it makes it in the top 100 of any category, I'm going to call it a win.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm taking more time than I need on this one, just because I want to make sure I have everything lined up. Because when I released the first book, I had been sick for most of the summer, and so I just kind of threw it out there just to, I'm done. It's done. I want to make this happen. And so I don't want to do that for the second one. I want to make sure I have like stuff lined up and, you know, newsletters set up and some social media and some ads. So like I'm doing it right this time. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more time before I put it out there.
I think I might start a Facebook ad tomorrow and run it for the first week, just so I can try and get some also bots in there. But
yeah,
it's really just to say that I had a release because there's been a delay. My last one was the day before Thanksgiving, so I did a rapid release. So like, here's 5 books. Now here's 5 months of nothing.
Yeah, I hate that.
I'm gonna try and rapid release. I'm writing book 3 of a trilogy right now, and if I can get it done, I think I'm gonna meter it out a little bit more because I was doing 21 days, and I might do 1 a month just so I can start training my readers to space out a little. Because there's no way. Are you wearing a Jurassic Park shirt?
I am.
I love it.
It felt like one of those days.
That's even more dressed up than I'm going for. I'm still wearing PJs from this morning.
It's like I'm going through the clothes in the back of the closet now, and I'm like, I haven't worn this for so long. Like, time to mix it up.
So before all of this started, my goal was to lose enough weight that I could wear all my geek shirts, and I have like 40 of them. And then this happened, and now I was like, oh, I'll wear one for the podcast, and I went and put it on. I was like, oh, this is inappropriate for a camera. We're gonna go back to hoodies. It would be fine if I wanted a midriff. I feel that's a very different fan right there.
The quarantine snacks are killing us.
I just had a $300 delivery from Target yesterday, and like I'm good for like the next 3-4 weeks. But she messed up the order, and there's just random junk food in there. I was like, well, of course I need to eat it all now, so there's no evidence. It's not going well.
Yeah, it's
after going to this.
an entire bag of chips for lunch.
That's what I've been doing. I'm like, okay, today I'm going to actually make lunch, but then somehow my hand just winds up in this bag of Lay's, and like I don't know what's happening there.
It's so hard.
It's one serving if you finish the bag in one sitting. So
that's totally what they meant.
I don't know what this family pack nonsense is about. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, I'm gonna go hop in and sprint for 10.
All right.
Okay.
Time. I wrote almost as much in 10 minutes as I do in 20 minutes. I should start just doing like 5-minute sprints.
Sometimes shorter is better because it forces you to really cram as much in as you can.
At midnight last night, I was typing and falling asleep at the keyboard, and all of a sudden I was like, aha, there's the box. So I have all these notes that I wrote before going to sleep, and one of them is literally just semicolons and a line, and I was like, what was I thinking?
Dun, dun. Okay.
275 words.
14.
Chris, I love your mug, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I think I got it at a comic book shop, but I'm not quite sure. I have so many of these mugs and cups.
I was saying I have on my geek shelf collector glasses and just weird, obscure geekery.
Nice.
484.
Damn.
Oh, I haven't said mine. 292.
Franklin?
I got done 371.
This was always the part of NaNoWriMo that I loved, was doing writing sprints with people. I always got way more work done when I did that.
I think there is less chance. Don't get me wrong. The reason my word counts are so slow is because I'm still like, let me think about this as I write it. Right? Clacking away at the keyboard.
Yeah, I'm loving writing the romantic relationship in this book. I broke my protagonist's heart in the last book. And I think I might have disappointed some readers, but I think I did it in an okay way, because the main character's girlfriend is going to have her own series. And I'm excited about it. It's going to be a whole like superhero spy thing. I cannot wait to write that series. But this one is the main character falls in love with a female cop. She is literally the only Black female cop on the force. Because it's Krista, my settings are in the past, so this is like 1963.
Okay.
And so but her love interest is also on a task force that's supposed to take down the vigilantes. And so there's this real struggle of, she doesn't know that I'm the one that she's hunting, and I really like her, and oh my God. And so I'm having a really fun time writing their relationship.
Nice. That's always a favorite to see, like when they don't know the alter ego, and I'm really the one you want. I love that.
Yeah, it's going to be revealed soon at the midpoint in a way that's like, oh, like I hope it's going to be a gut punch, because I love that in a relationship where you're like, oh, I love these two together. Oh man, the writer did what? Oh, it's going to have a happy ending. It's going to take them it's going to take them another book to actually get together. But because I like a slow burn, I don't like a necessarily get together in one book unless it's a romance novel, and then absolutely I want them to get together in the same book. But Yeah, this is one of my favorite parts of writing books is the relationships.
Cool.
I kind of don't like the
Or other
relationship.
character to change their outlook, which I like. Where you're like,
Yeah.
do I really love them still, or no? Can I do my job and be in love now?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's like the
My-
type of stuff that hooks me.
Mm-hmm.
One of my primary storylines is the heroine of the story, the guy she's in love with becomes not the villain, but he joins the evil organization, and he's always been a little bit rough around the edges. And I realized that ultimately, if you strip away all the nuances to it, it's really I can change him.
Ah.
It's a little different. It's a little bit of I can save him,
Uh-huh.
but I'm gonna have to go back and noodle the relationship a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, the last book in my series, I've got it planned right now. I think it's for 7. I had a bunch more, but then I decided there was some other stuff I wanted to do. So like, I don't want to spend that much time in this series. So I cut a couple of the books out. So the last one in my series is one of the I can save him type things because he's been brainwashed or something. So
Yeah, that's an interesting way to use that trope of I can save him. Like this person that like really you can probably save him. Like he's had something done to him, or I like that. That's
yeah.
I like
So-
finding a way to play with the romance tropes and be like, okay, yeah, but how do I take the toxicity or the eye roll out of this? You know, how do I make it better?
Guess what, guys?
Yeah, it's tough.
We're gonna sprint in 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes. Okay. I checked in with Dan. The girls they got done with their Thursday schoolwork in like 15 minutes.
Students who are into the subjects that I'm teaching right now, like some of them are like, yeah, this is like a 3-minute assignment. Aren't you going to get anything more difficult? And I was like, I can't, because for the other students, this could be an hour-long assignment. We're only allowed to give 30 minutes of work.
Yep.
So sorry, you're experiencing No Child Left Behind in the worst possible way.
Yeah, I used to teach high school, and I couldn't imagine trying to go through this right now. Like it just looks so difficult from both the sides of the parents and the teachers and the kids too. So I mean, it's got to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
For the teachers, it's confusing, but it's not bad. The difficulty is really all about the parents. Like, I mean, 100%, this should not be about the teachers whatsoever. Like the teachers who are doing all these live Zoom things, like we need to understand that is not online learning. That's trying to pretend that we're still in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And poor parents. Okay, let me sit my kid down for another 3 hours of screen time and pretend that the 6-year-old understands what's happening.
Yeah. My youngest, her hour-long Zoom classes once a week are so freaking chaotic. I'm just like, they're talking over each other because they don't understand, you know, that they can't talk over each other online. They're telling these rambling stories, you know, half of them are just kind of doing their own thing and they're not even in the camera, you know. I'm just like, well, she feels like she's interacting with her classmates. I mean, that's some socialization for her. I'll take it, honestly. That's the only thing that I see that's good out of it.
I just feel like we should constantly send them apologies. The poor parents involved in this.
Our girls have become pretty self-sufficient with it, for which I am very grateful. Like they set up their Chromebooks, they log in, they know how to do the assignments, they get them done, they turn them in, and then they're done. And like right now, my youngest is playing a math game and my oldest is reading an Anne McCaffrey novel, which I'm so excited about.
Wow. All right, everyone.
Okay, we're going for 20 on this one?
20 on this one.
All right, I'll probably have to bounce after this.
No. No, sorry.
I'm here forever. It's a Twilight Zone episode.
You're trapped. You are now in the computer.
I am in the Matrix. Shit. So we're going now? Sorry. I'm looking at the
372.
Woo! 450. But part of that's because I switched scenes, and the midpoint scenes are actually they're some of the few that I kept from my first draft. So I wasn't in the mental headspace of, oh, this is actually a revision. So it was like, gotta switch gears.
I had to look up train timetables in the 1940s between New York and Boston.
Wow.
I learned that trains in the 40s traveled faster than they do now.
Really?
Okay.
I guess Obama actually slowed the trains down. I didn't read enough of it, but thanks,
That's
Obama.
interesting.
I did 817.
Nice.
I kind of switched back and forth between two scenes because they were kind of wanted to make sure that they were directly following each other, and one I knew exactly where I wanted to go, and the other I didn't. So I just kind of kept going back and forth to kind of figure out where I wanted to go with that second one.
I've done that. Oh,
I got 621.
nice.
Slacker.
This one's going because I got to describe a new location that I haven't really thought about. So I'm like, how is like my poor hero is like discovering it for the first time, and I'm like, I can't just write he walked into a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bad about that. Just my editor was like, "This is just the white room. What are they doing? Why are they just standing here talking and we don't know what anything looks like or what's happening?"
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I should probably describe some stuff.
My editor will highlight an entire chunk and just said lost scene, and it's like it's a generic white room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, setting is not. It's not my strong point. I have to go back and do it after I've done everything else, the dialogue and the action. Then I have to kind of go back and like, okay, what does this room look like? What's in here? What are they doing? You know, actually describe where they're at.
Yes. I'm the exact same way.
I go back in. Last time I did this, and it kind of helped. I made index cards for each of the senses, and as I was reading a scene, I would put in, like, I would flip over one of the senses. As long as I accessed it, it was flipped over. And occasionally I would see, like, oh, this scene, like, no scenes do I. My characters have no sense of smell ever in any story. Everything is bleak and sterile.
Yeah.
I am actually going to call it, you guys. I'm going to. I'm sorry. I want to put on real clothes today. I don't know why. That's like my quarantine goal. Real clothes.
Okay. I'll just live through you because today is the sweatpants day.
I am in my pajamas right now. Like I got up late enough where I was like, there's no changing before the live stream. I'm just going to write my PJs.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking we will iron out this evening drinking and writing.
I'm liking this, although
Franklin, our idea is going to happen.
It is,
yes.
But I probably will not drink every time I delete because I'll be hammered in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I have to run to the store to get some other stuff, so I will remember to pick up a bottle of wine or something to bring home for if I can hopefully get back on tonight, then I'll be ready.
Yeah.
Are we doing it? I don't think I can do it tonight, but I could probably do it next week.
Well,
okay.
Krista, if you want to do it tonight, I'm more than happy to do it with you because, you know, it's more interesting than I was going to do.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the only thing I was going to do tonight is watch Batwoman because I need to get caught up on that, and I think that's it. So.
Yeah, I think I'm one episode behind right now.
I'm way behind on Batwoman, but I am caught up on Legends, I think. So
yeah,
I'm excited about that.
I'm a whole season behind on that one.
Legends?
Yeah, me too.
Oh, it's so crazy right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just when I thought Bebo, nothing's going to top Bebo. No, they were like challenge accepted. Crazy stuff, and I love it. If we want to do, I'm all down for a Thursday night writing and drinks. I am loving that idea. I just need a little notice so I can actually
let's do Thursday evenings because I always have a 10 o'clock staff meeting and then a noon department meeting, and sometimes the noon department meeting can go for 2 hours.
Okay.
And after that, I definitely need a drink. So
I can probably, I don't know what, so for me, I can do like 3 o'clock my time. I'm on Pacific.
Krista, where are you?
I'm in Houston, so I'm in Central Time Zone, so I can do what works for you is probably the same for me because I'm just used to kind of going off what the East Coast is doing.
So I can't, like, my evenings are generally watching really bad TV, so I'm pretty negotiable. How late works best for you, Trish?
I can probably talk Dan into 3 to 4:30. I could probably do that.
So that would be like 6:30 here.
Okay.
Well, it would be, if it's you're 3 hours ahead, it would be 6 to 7:30 for you, I think.
Okay, I can do 6 o'clock on a Thursday.
Yeah, that's 5 for me. I can do that. By then, I've taken my dogs out and everything by that point. So.
And then I'll be drunk enough to go get dinner. Half of it is me laying on the ground. So.
Thank you guys for the writing sprints. I got so much done today. It was really nice to meet you, Krista, and to see you again, Franklin. And I always see you, Remy. It's always a delight.
And I'll be on again at noon tomorrow. So.
Okay. Well, I'll be able to do tomorrow's, not this long, but I'll definitely be on tomorrow again. So that'll be fun.
I'll actually be able to do noon tomorrow. So.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Hey, bye.
Yes.
All right, I'm probably gonna go ahead too, so I can go to the store and get a few things that I need. I can try. I mean, it's not a big deal. We can just wait till next Thursday and do the evening one. It doesn't matter, but.
I need work, so I can definitely be on tonight.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put 6 on my phone to remind me. Maybe if I figure out how to use my phone.
Nice.
Technology. I teach tech classes. The first part. All right. Krista, I will. Are you staying for the next sprint?
No, I'm going to go ahead and log off, and then I will try and get back on at 5 o'clock. I will see what I got some the boring business stuff to do this afternoon after I get home from the store. So hopefully I'll get that stuff finished so I can do a few more sprints.
All right. I will talk to you later then.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
And then number 2.
I'll try to do this sprint. I'll try to get my words up.
Oh yeah, we're sprinting. Oh.
Here we go. For reals.
Okay. Time.
There we go.
389. I am up to 1,117 so far today.
Woo.
And I'm 15,000 into the next book.
Yeah.
I feel that this book is going to be very bloated at this point.
If you're going for 60,000-ish, that's like a good fourth of the way.
Yeah, I try to end the story at 60,000-ish, and then I'll go back and use the other 10,000 words to fill out, to do transition scenes. I don't think I need 10,000, so I might need to include a little more, but it seems to be kind of a happy number. And it
Nice.
certainly beats my last book, which was 129,000 words.
Oh boy. Those just become exhausting to go back through where you're like, oh no.
It like purely from a writing standpoint, it's not like I'm getting more money for it. It's the last book of a series, so it's, the least read of all the books. The plot is fairly tight, but there were so many points of view. So this is one point of view at 60,000, which is more than I've ever done before. So I'm kind of hoping that shorter means I can write faster, release more.
Yeah. I always try. My last couple things I've written have been like super long.
And I think it's easier to write longer because you get more words to get your point across, but I don't know if it necessarily translates to a better reader experience. So this is my chance to experiment with that. And we'll see.
Yeah. I'm just combining what I've typed today because I just like did half sentences. It's like these sentences end and begin on different pages. Holy.
I always have to go back because I put in extra spaces to show like, oh, this is where this writing started. And then when it compiles later, I'm like, is that supposed to be a scene break? Like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, did something go here or am I just jumping forward in time?
Yeah, like, was this include more info here? Or was I just being irresponsible? Who knows?
Okay, there we go.
What do you
This
up
is
to
a little-
so far?
For the day, I've got 2,346 words. It's not bad. I'm not done this chapter yet, though, so I'm like, oh, how much more? It's just stretching on. I got to find a breaking point.
Yesterday I hit 150,000 words for the year, and I thought that was pretty impressive.
Oh wow. Yes. Isn't that like Pulp Speed 1 or something?
Wait, what?
Isn't there like, I don't know if you follow like the whole like if you write pulp fiction speed, but there's like a diagram that I found on Google where it was like pulp speeds. If you write like so many 100,000 words a year. You're technically like pulp speed 1 compared to like the old days where people were publishing their stuff in like the pulp magazines.
And all I can think about is those people who write like Lord of the Rings epic fantasy, like, oh, I may have just gotten to like the midpoint of book 1.
Yeah.
Like there's Odin from the NESW. This is Odin's first book.
Oh my gosh.
This would stop a bullet. I mean,
yeah. My first couple books I did were very like, I tried to do the 50,000. That was like my base. I didn't really go much farther. I think I had one that was like 65, but that was as long as it went.
My zombie series are, when I went back and rewrote them, because they're young adults, so they're going to be in book, I wanted them thick enough to feel like a book.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like 70,000, 75,000, and then 90,000.
Yeah. The larger ones, when you do paperbacks, it's like, it's enticing for the Kindle Unlimited readers to be like, oh, it's a long book. If I love it, there's lots to read. But then when you print it, it becomes so expensive to make any money off of that paperback because of the printing.
And I hate when I see like authors like, oh, I'm going to do it in like a size 9 font so I can make some money.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that like the money dictates, but there's a couple things that you have to think about for that.
Yeah. It was like one of those weird, I had like a conversation with a friend one time that was like, yeah, I'll buy your paperback. Let me know how much it is and all that stuff. So I was like, here's the link, here's all stuff. And they were like, oh, so how much do you make for each paperback? And I was like, $2 or something. Yeah. And they were like, what? When it costs like $14? And I was like, yeah, all that goes to printing and delivery, and then I get the leftovers.
I always tell people, like, if you want to support me, go buy the ebook.
Yeah, like get over the stigma, buy my ebook.
I make $3 and some change from the ebook, and I make $2 and some change from the paperback, and my paperbacks are more expensive than I want them to be. And for this series, because it's all going to be like 70,000 words, I was thinking about it because I want to do audiobooks, but realistically, no one wants to buy an audiobook with their 1 credit every month that is like 6 hours. They want like the 20-hour epic. So I think what I might do for this one is I might make 1 audiobook for the whole trilogy. Which, you know, it'll be like a $30-something audiobook, but I'll get so much more money for it than if I ever would as a standalone.
Yeah. That is the big trick for audio right now, is it's like it's expensive to buy, it's expensive to make, and then you don't really have control over how much everything like costs or any of that. Like it used to be at the beginning of like the indie audiobook production, it was like, oh, you can kind of like control, and now they like took all that away, and it's like it automatically just prices your work.
And if you go wide, you still get some options, but you don't get a whole lot. And there's only Chirp, which is the only advertising platform for audio, and I don't necessarily think it's worth it. So I might go wide for just the beginning. But to do that means that I'm going to have to foot the full bill of 3 books all at once, which is going to be like $1,500. And you know, how fast do you see that back? Like, a
Yeah.
year, 2 years. I wish fast, but
Yeah, even some of the lit RPG people that look like they're making like a huge killing in audio. I was reading some of the Reddit threads and they were like, some of the big names were like, yeah, I still haven't broken even on my audiobook. And I'm like, and your audiobooks are like, they've got like thousands of reviews.
Yeah.
How
Well,
long does it take?
those people who are doing like multi narrator, like male female voices and all of that stuff, just every time I hear someone start talking about that, I just hear dollars like just lit up in smoke.
Yeah, because not only are you paying for production, you're paying multiple people for a single title to narrate.
Well, and I can't remember. I think it was Lindsay Broker said that she did one of her books using ensemble cast, and all I could think of was that like a $10,000 audiobook?
Oh boy.
Because you're paying like 15 people to do all these voices. Like, how did you make your money back?
I don't know how those work. I do know somebody who does audiobook narration. And she's been a part of some like multi-voice like radio theater type stuff, but I don't know how it all breaks down.
And it just sounds complicated.
Yeah. Oh,
Was it sprint time?
I think so.
Oh, as normal, we're late.
Ah.
Okay, I think this is my last one for today. Oh, at least for now.
Yes. Okay.
And done.
Woo.
I don't even know what I had. 374.
I got 933.
Damn.
That's because my villain finally caught back up to my heroes.
I just had a woman beat the snot out of another woman in a train car.
Woo!
And it wasn't even like a skillful fight. It was like her mocking this poor housewife who is wrapped up in something she doesn't understand and just basically slapping her, being like, why are you part of an evil organization? Slap.
Oh boy. Some people just need to be hit.
The list grows longer and longer.
Oh boy. My chapter was like, my poor hero was being like, oh, we got away. And then my villain being like, oh, but you made the stupidest decision you could have made, and you came back to my lair to get something. Now I'm really going to take you down.
Let's try this one more time.
Yep. And I try not to write too many like MacGuffin plots where it's like, we have to go there and get that thing.
She's on a train going to Boston to meet with a history professor to find out more information about the evil organization.
Yep.
Yeah. It works into the plot really well, but it was kind of a convenient, where did this come from? So I have to finagle a bit.
Yeah. Most of my superhero plots all go back to some sort of like detective mystery, because they got to find the info somewhere. And I've gotten better because I had my first book, I got a bunch of comments where it was like, why are your main characters never using their cell phone to research anything? And I'm like, oh yeah.
So
your book in a library somewhere, they could just look it up. I'm making so much work for myself.
So I went to where was I? Oh, the Society for Children's Authors and Illustrators or whatever. And there was a really good talk by a guy who writes young adult fiction, and he does superheroes. And part of the plot was like they did super stuff, and he was like, these are middle school and teenage aged kids. Why aren't they using their social media? Why aren't they doing this? And so he went back and he developed this whole system where whenever superheroes are spotted, it sends an alert to their phones, and they can live stream the super battle that's happening. And it actually turned into like this major plot point. So whenever my heroes are like down moments, I always try and write in something like, what would you actually be doing? Well, reality is you're probably checking Facebook on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So like I nuked all of New England to get rid of cell phones. It worked so far.
For me, it would be, I only know that something is going on when somebody uploads a YouTube video about it.
How do I defeat the villain? I wonder if there's a YouTube. That would actually be really funny.
It's like, oh, like you get so many things I find out in like entertainment and whatever. I'll find out because my favorite YouTubers are suddenly like live streaming and talking about like, did you just hear that this got pushed back? And I'll be like, oh my gosh. And then it's like, I could have just gone to the Google and just typed in something, but I wouldn't know what I'm looking at. I have to have like, how do we get our news?
Well, and it's also like, once upon a time, famous people died and you would hear about it like on the front page of a paper if they were super famous. Now with Facebook, you're like, oh, another whoever died.
Yeah.
Like, do I really need this news information that's coming in?
Yep. Although sometimes people are just chatting about famous people and I always in the back of my mind be like, oh no, please don't let this be the day. Like, and then I'm like, oh phew, they're just talking about them moving or quitting doing something. Okay.
It's basically every time I see a picture of Betty White, I'm like, oh, is this the time? Is this the one?
No, please. Not Betty.
All right. I think I need to go stretch and make food and stuff.
Same for me.
All right. If you're bored, we'll be around later.
I may join.
Make sure you have a good cocktail.
Oh, yes.
All right. I will chat with you later.
Coolness.
Bye.
Bye.